Are you playing LumenTale, Memories of Trey? Are you thinking of playing LumenTale? Do you want a few non-story spoiler tips to make your game better? Stick around. I am not someone who has played games day in and day out for my entire life. I took many years off and only restarted a few years ago. So sometimes I miss things other people might not. Also, I feel LumenTale has a lot more to it than meets the eye. So people may not even think to look for more features. Here are 10 things that took me a little while to figure out that I wish I had known ahead of time to make the game a smoother experience, and in no particular order. Number 1, the personality test matters. Games used to have one ending, and even if there were dialogue choices, nothing you chose would change the game or the ending. Many games now have multiple endings, and your choices will affect the game. This is one of those games. Depending on how you answer the personality test, you will receive a suggestion of which Animon you should choose for your starter. You will have more to choose from, and you can choose any one you want. But if you choose the one suggested, your Animon will start out at a higher level. I felt obligated to go with the one I was suggested to select, so I did. There is also more than one ending, so choices you make in the game will affect the ending. Number 2, you can scan enemies in battle and learn more about them. This is very important for more reasons than you may think. When you enter battle, any attack you choose for an enemy will have a question mark. That is because you, of course, don't know anything about the enemy. Weaknesses, strengths, nothing. You use a turn to scan an enemy. You see some of the strengths and weaknesses, but not all. In other games, such as Shin Megami Tensei 5, you use an item called a spyglass to see all the elemental strengths and weaknesses. But with this game, you must scan the enemy 3 different times. Sometimes you may not want to or can't afford to lose a turn scanning an enemy. That's okay, you can do it later. You will battle the same enemies over and over, so keep in mind to scan each enemy 3 times. This will not only help you to know what the enemy is weak to, but it will also help you fill out your AniWiki. This is your database of information on every Animon, so you want to complete this. Number 3, you can catch Animon in the overworld or in battle. When you start a battle, your first Animon will be selected to choose an attack. I didn't remember that you could move off of that Animon and onto an enemy, so I didn't know how to scan or try to catch an Animon in battle. When I start a game with all the information thrown at me, I forget things. So even if the game tells me, I might forget by the next day. In case you're the same way, I'm including this here. I find capturing them in battle easier for me than in the overworld. Don't forget to weaken the Animon before you try to capture it. Also, if the Animon was a way lower level, it was much easier for me to catch. Number 4. We caught Animon in battle. Let's talk about catching Animon in the overworld. When catching Animon in the overworld, you will switch to having your Bilia up by switching this in the lower right corner. Mostly I leave mine on an Animon so I don't waste my Bilia. You use your Holocan to hit the Animon. Once you hit it, you will see letters appear, and you must push these quickly and correctly to have a better chance at capturing the Animon. I don't know about you, but I can't think or push buttons that fast. I got 3 or 4 max on a good day. Here's a tip for people like me. When you see an Animon you want, save your game. Use your Holocan and hit the Animon. Be ready to push buttons. Be prepared. Try to remember the order in case you don't capture it. If you do, great. If you don't capture it, you have 2 options. If you are low on Bilia, reload your save from right before you try to capture the Animon. The order of the letters or the code to capture that Animon will be the same every time, so you will be ready to input those values. So if the code is BAYXX, maybe you only got BA. Now you can quickly get BA and then get the Y in time, or now you know the Y for the next time. Keep reloading until you get the Animon. The other thing you can do if you miss the code but don't want to reload or have plenty of Bilia, you switch the lower right corner to an Animon and hit the enemy again. You will then stun the enemy. You can now switch back to the Bilia and try again. Number 5. After you capture an Animon, check the info and stats and possibly switch out your team members soon after. I would guess you want to try to optimize your team as soon as possible. So that's why I suggest checking after each capture. Different Animons have different traits, strengths, weaknesses. I know, that's obvious in games, but stay with me. You see here, this Animon has 1 trait and 1 element. But you see here, this Animon has 2 elements. So after you get an Animon, check. You want a good variety of abilities on your team to conquer anything that comes your way. Number 6. Know your traits. I didn't know this was a thing until later in the game. When you're in battle, the option to choose your attack pops up. You will notice a little picture next to the top attack. If you push, in my case, the R button, you will activate that trait for this attack. Each trait does something different. I took pictures on my cell phone of what each one did so I could refresh my memory when needed. Some heal your allies, some sacrifice HP to do more damage, etc. Keep in mind that these use extra stamina balls, so use them carefully. Number 7. Save frequently. This game does have autosave, but I would recommend saving manually frequently so if you do fall in battle, you don't lose a ton of progress. Before the first big battle of the game asks if you are ready, so you can say no and save manually. But later, it won't always do that. It's easy to forget to manually save, so I just wanted to add that. Number 8. You can change the difficulty if you need to. Some people are new to gaming, and some people need a challenge or they don't find a game fun. This game has normal, easy, and ace settings, which you can change at any time under the Settings tab. Number 9. If you find the recycle bins, use them. There are even some recycle bins in the first area of the game that you can use. I either didn't find them or didn't know what to do with them at the time. Like recycling in real life, there are different bins for different materials. You will pick up a ton of items while exploring. You can put those items in the recycle bin to gain XP. Choose an item and then pick a bin and see how much XP you can get. If you put the correct item, plastic, in the plastic bin for example, you'll get more XP. If you put the plastic in the metal bin, you get less. Also, do one at a time to make sure you can even gain the XP. I went back to the beginning area later in the game and put in a bunch of recycle and my Animons got 0 XP. If you are already leveled up too high, you will gain nothing! Good day, sir! So don't throw in a lot at once like I did. Number 10. The entire team contributes to and shares the stamina in battle. When you start a battle, you will see some dots off to the left side. This is the stamina for your entire team for that turn. Each skill you use in battle will use a certain amount of stamina, so pay attention. If you use too much, you might run out before all of your Animon have taken their turn. I hope these tips will make your playthrough smoother than mine. Stay tuned for part 2 coming soon. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider joining our Siren community by subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment. As I said, I have part 2 made and coming out soon, but if you can think of more spoiler-free tips, please feel free to put them in the comments to help everyone else. Until next time.